The ocean is a powerful force, and those who harness its energy shape the future of global trade. Hello there, and welcome to Nimasa This Week, your go-to source for everything maritime in Nigeria. I'm super excited to bring you latest updates and key developments in the maritime sector. I remain your uncle, Moyioluwa Olutayo. Get ready for an action-packed episode.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are Nimasa. New face, rejuvenated service. Nimasa, changing the tides in your favor.
Once again, you're welcome on board Nimasa This Week. Let's kickstart today's voyage from the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. As you all know, the ministry plays a crucial role in harnessing Nigeria's maritime resources for economic growth and sustainable development. So right away, let's dive into the details of these developments and explore what they mean for Nigeria's economy and the maritime sector. Stay tuned on the program. I will be right back.
In line with the current administration's ongoing efforts to attract foreign investment into the sector, the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, CON, has met with the Ambassador of Denmark to Nigeria, Mr. Jens Bach Hansen, to explore opportunities for Danish companies to invest in Nigeria's blue economy. Welcoming the ambassador to his Abuja office, Dr. Oyetola described Denmark as a valued maritime partner and expressed Nigeria's readiness to deepen bilateral cooperation in unlocking the enormous opportunities while assuring Danish investors of a favorable investment climate.
We're willing to learn from you because you are a developed country. We are still developing. Forget about the IMO thing. That's not the basis for measuring the size and the achievement of Denmark. So we'll be willing to learn from you. Another area we probably will be looking at is area of capacity building. Training of seafarers, for instance. We have a maritime academy in Oron that is training some of the seafarers right now. But we want to allow them to have opportunity for foreign exposure too, by way of having them been on board on foreign vessels to be able to have the kind of experience that's needed after graduation. So areas of training will be an important aspect of what we can do together.
He also used the opportunity to thank the government of Denmark for its support for Nigeria's election into Category C of the International Maritime Organization Council, held in November 2025, and commended Danish investments in Nigeria's port sector through APM terminals, which operates in the Apapa and Onne ports.
The wind farm is particularly very important to us now, given the fact that we have 853 kilometers of coastline. Right now, with the ambitious program of our president on infrastructure, we are constructing Lagos-Calabar highway. That gives beautiful opportunity for tourism, beautiful opportunity for wind farms, and so in terms of renewable energy. So it's an area that when we want to look at, when it comes to the issue of investment.
On his part, Ambassador Jen Obach Anson congratulated Nigeria on its election into Category C of the IMO Council and expressed confidence that Nigeria will bring its experience and regional influence to bear in advancing international maritime cooperation.
I know that a lot of effort was put into this. We voted for you also.
Thank you.
Gladly, because we wanted to recognize Nigeria's growing regional and global maritime leadership. I think the ministry has already achieved one of its goals with this election. The ministry in itself aligns with the way we also think about the marine and blue economy in Denmark. We also try to think it together like you do, because all these matters are integrated.
He also highlighted Denmark's global expertise in wind energy and green maritime technologies, stating that his country is open to sharing knowledge and experience with the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy in renewable energy and other sustainable maritime solutions.
The blue economy is another area where I think we have a lot in common. Denmark is very strong when it comes to wind energy on the sea. Energy is important for every country. Nigeria is oil rich, but alternative energy is something that could be explored also in Nigeria. We think the opportunities are manifold here, and we would love to explore this area with you.
Denmark has invested approximately $1.2 billion in Nigeria's port infrastructure, notably through APM terminals in Lagos, Onne, and Kano, with plans to expand these investments. The EU country has also supported Nigeria in enhancing maritime security, including training for law enforcement personnel through projects like Ship in a Box, simulations in collaboration with the UNODC.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are Nimasa. New face, rejuvenated service. Nimasa, changing the tides in your favor.
Welcome back on the show. You're still watching Nimasa This Week. Moving on. The executive management of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, recently held a breakfast meeting with shipyard operators at the agency's resource center in Kirikiri, Lagos. The theme of the breakfast meeting, which held on Wednesday, 28 January 2026, was dissecting the issues, challenges, and prospects in the shipbuilding segment. Stay with us on the program as we bring you the full report.
The executive management of the agency recently organized a breakfast meeting with shipyard operators as part of its efforts to engage industry stakeholders and gain first-hand insights into challenges facing shipyard operators, with the engagement held on the theme Dissecting the Issues, Challenges and Prospects in the Shipbuilding Segment, discussing funding models, incentives and policy support for shipyard growth. Delivering the welcome address at the event was the Executive Director Operations, ably represented by the Director Marine Environment Management, Dr. Omar Ofodele, who highlighted key trends reshaping the sector and outlined critical challenges that must be addressed to unlock growth.
We are aware that shipyards are pivotal to the maritime decarbonization. And so this places a kind of huge burden on their shoulders to ensure that energy efficient vessels are being constructed to match with the emerging trends. So it's a whole complex issue that we believe that the discussion here today would at least give us a way forward on all this. To Today we will identify and evaluate funding models, trade-offs, incentives, industrial policy levers, implementation issues, policy design, stakeholders engagement opportunities together.
Subsequently, the goodwill messages was delivered by the Executive Director, Maritime Labour Services, represented by the Director, Cabotage Services, Mrs. Gloria Anyasodo, who emphasized the strategic importance of the shipbuilding industry to the advancement of Nigeria's maritime sector and called for solution-driven discussions beyond identifying challenges.
You already know the challenges, you articulate the solutions that will help us to move forward and towards having a very vibrant shipyard that will help us to reduce the capital flight and help us to boost our cabotage. Actionable plans that will help us to move forward. We from Nimasa Cabotage Department, we will always be there to work together to achieve an economic growth that is needed for the country maritime industry to move forward.
Guest speaker at the event was Engineer Greg Ogbeifo, who elaborated extensively on the theme, focusing on funding models, incentives, and policy support required to drive sustainable growth in the shipbuilding industry.
So today we are in a situation where in our country we have approximately about 8,000 ships of different sizes, specifications, capacity that are operating in our waters. So now most of them are working with the upstream side of the oil and gas industry. Then you have the downstream, the coastal tankers and product tankers. All these 1,000 ships about operating in this one were all built outside this country. I don't need you to visualize the colossal economic loss in this country.
We must take that position in the Committee of Maritime Nations, that leading position. We have to start to think differently. It shouldn't be business as usual. We don't want to do it the way we have been doing it. We want to do it the way other countries that have been able to achieve this have been doing it, and they've been able to present themselves worthy.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are Nimasa. New face, rejuvenated service. Nimasa, changing the tides in your favor.
Welcome back on the program. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, has commenced a joint curriculum review and harmonization exercise with the National Board for Technical Education to align maritime training programs with international standard. The initiative, sponsored by Nimasa, featured a 5-day training, and the Director General of Nimasa, Dr. Dayo Mobriola, was ably represented by the Executive Director of Operations, Engineer Taye Adeyemi. Stay with us on the program as we bring you full report from the training. I'll be right back.
In line with its statutory responsibility of ensuring compliance with international maritime conventions and standards, particularly in the area of seafarers training and certification, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency is collaborating with the National Board for Technical Education to review and harmonize maritime training curricula in nautical science and marine engineering. The measure, which seeks to align with STCW 2017 amendments, was made public during an event held at the Nimasa's Maritime House, Apapa, and brought together key stakeholders in maritime education and training. Speaking at the event, the agency's Director General, Dr. Dayomo Birala, who was represented by the Executive Director Operations, Engineer Fatai Taye Adeyemi, reaffirmed the agency's commitment to strengthening maritime capacity development and ensuring that Nigerian seafarers are trained in accordance with international accepted standards.
Over the years, the agency has continued to identify the need for a standardized and harmonized curriculum that aligns fully with the STCW Convention. In order to eliminate disparities in training deliveries and enhance employability of Nigerian seafarers, both locally and internationally. This exercise therefore provides a strategic platform for critical stakeholders to collectively review existing curricula, identify gaps, and agree on a unified framework that meets global practice while addressing Nigeria's peculiar maritime needs.
Delivering his goodwill message, the Executive Secretary of the NBTE, Professor Idris M. Bugaje, represented by Dr. Oladipupo Bello, commended Nimasa for coordinating the initiative. He described the exercise as a forward-looking effort aimed at promoting consistency, competency-based learning, and alignment with current industry realities.
We want to see how we can strengthen our curriculum with mandatory skills qualification, which we call MSQ, and entrepreneurship education to enable our diplomats to become job creators and become self-reliant. And also, we want to see how we can incorporate industrial relevance to reflect current operational reality, new technological development, and best practices in the maritime sector. We at NBT will recognize curriculum as a very dynamic instrument. And so we've set a period of every 5 years to come together to review and upgrade our curriculum. Our role in this process will be to facilitate technical guidance on the curriculum structures. We have adopted UNESCO formats.
Participants afterwards gave their opinions on the exercise, with the majority agreeing that it will significantly strengthen maritime education and training in Nigeria while reinforcing compliance with international obligations. Through sustained collaboration with NBTE and other relevant national and international partners, the agency continues to strengthen maritime education, promote global accepted certification, and enhance the global standing of Nigerian seafarers.
The curriculum we are using now to train our seafarers is not up to date. It needs to be reviewed, mainly because it does not completely incorporate the STCW competency tables, which is used to train seafarers. So for Nigeria here, it is okay as an ND program ordinarily. But now that we want to align with what the IMO is doing, it's very, very important that the curriculum we use also align with the STCW convention. So it is very, very important that we harmonize it.
Maritime education and training programs, particularly nautical science and marine engineering. And under the National Board for Technical Education, we have National Diploma and Higher National Diploma curricula for nautical science, National Diploma and Higher National Diploma programs for marine engineering. It's very important that these programs are aligned with the STCW Convention, and that's why we are here, to collaborate with Nimasa, the National Board for Technical Education, in order to bring out the best curricula for maritime education and training in Nigeria.
The Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund, commonly known as the CVFF, is designed to support Nigerian shipping companies in acquiring vessels and strengthening indigenous maritime capacity. The application process begins on the Nimasa website, www.cvff.nimasa.gov.ng. On the home page, applicants select the option Apply for CVFF. This action leads to the CVFF landing page, where the applicants click Proceed to begin the process. At this stage, applicants are presented with a list of required documents needed for the application. After reviewing the requirements, the applicant agrees to the terms and conditions under the Data Protection Policy and clicks Proceed. This takes the applicant to the company registration page. It is important to note that this stage is strictly for company registration and not yet for the loan application itself. Once the company is successfully registered on the portal, an email is sent to the registered address containing the login credentials. Upon first login, the system prompts the applicant to reset the password using a one-time password. When the reset is successful, a confirmation notification is received. You will receive your user ID and you can now log in to your account on the CVFF portal. If there are any issues at this stage, the applicant is advised to contact the Cabotage Secretariat Unit, CSU, for immediate assistance. After a successful login, the system directs the applicant to upload the required company documents. These documents relate strictly to the company and include CAC registration documents, tax clearance certificate, amongst others. Once the documents are uploaded, the applicant proceeds to register the company director or directors with a minimum requirement of at least one director. At this point, the system redirects the applicant to the profile landing page. From the profile page, the applicant can now proceed to apply for the CVFF loan. Using the menu on the left-hand side, the applicant enters key loan details, including the value of the vessel, the selected primary lending institution. This selection of PLI is based on prior arrangement between the applicant and the lending institution. After completing the loan information, the applicant clicks Save and Continue. The system then notifies the applicant if there are additional documents required by the chosen PLI and redirects them to upload those documents. Once all required documents are successfully uploaded, a confirmation notification is issued, indicating that the loan application has been formally submitted to the selected PLI. Please note that you can always track your application using your login details. Welcome to the launch of the Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund portal.
That's all we have for you on today's episode of Nimasa This Week. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to join us again next week for another fully packaged episode. Until then, I remain your uncle, Moyioluwa Olutayo. Stay safe and bon voyage.